Well, hello, writers. I was busy being my own writing coach. I started with my brainstorming sheet. Here, I'll show you what I came up with. This is the same one I had before. I just added a few more ideas this time. So remember, I might write about my San Juan trip or the time my friend Lindsay moved, even though I already wrote about that one, so I probably won't write about that one again. Or there's the time I got bit by a dog. There's the time I was brave enough to go on a roller coaster. My first day of teaching first grade last year. Or when I met my kitty Chester. So after I brainstormed some more of these ideas, I decided to write about my San Juan trip. Let me show you how I planned it out. So I used my planning sheet, and I was thinking about the trip. It was 3 different days, and so it was kind of hard to write about all the things that happened. So this is what I remembered. I said that first we took the ferry over to the island, and then we camped. We hiked a lot that day, and then we camped, and then we woke up the next day, we hiked again, and then we went home. So I was all ready to draft, but then I remembered that Mrs. Norton said that we should always check our checklist every day, just like a pilot. And so I was looking at my checklist, and I noticed that it says, I wrote about when I did something, and I remembered that this is a small moment story. And my plan isn't about a small moment at all. It's about 3 whole days. And I don't have a lot of details because there's so much time. I had to kind of cram in all the things that we did. So I don't think this is going to be a very good story. So I put not yet. I need to fix this because I didn't write about one small moment when I did something. I wrote about a whole trip. So let me think about how I can fix this. Okay, first graders. So I went back to my brainstorming because I had to think about how I could choose a small moment story. But I really still wanted to write about my camping trip in San Juan. So I thought instead of writing about the whole trip, which is not a small moment, it's 3 days, instead, I thought about my favorite part of camping in San Juan. Now, first graders, you might not know this about me, but even though I like to do a little bit of hiking, I really like to be inside. I love enjoying good food or coffee or talking to friends. And so even though I had fun hiking and exploring in San Juan, my very favorite part was when at the end of the trip, after all of that hiking and camping and we were dirty and gross from being outside and eating camp food, we found our way to a really yummy restaurant. We sat down comfortably inside and we had a delicious meal. So that was my favorite part of camping in San Juan. And as you can tell, I care a lot about it. It's a good memory, and I remember a lot of details. So once I had this brainstorm down, I went back to my plan. First, I erased my old plan so that I could write my new plan. Then I made my new plan. So one of the things I noticed when I was writing this plan is I was able to add a lot more detail and make my writing a lot more interesting because it was just one small moment when we went to the restaurant, not my whole trip. So first, we had been hiking all day and were hot, dirty, and tired. We were trying to find a restaurant. Then we finally found one, and it was really big and had pretty lights hanging from it. Next, we sat down and we ordered, and our food came. And last, we relaxed and talked with our full tummies. And I was thinking about what a great trip it was. So that's my plan. Now, I'm going to add a lot more details and use fancy words and all the things I know, all the other things my checklist says to do when I'm actually drafting. But this is a pretty good plan to get me started. Writers, today when you're writing, remember to, like pilots, check your checklist every time you write. My checklist helped me from making a big mistake. I can change my not yet to a yes. Because now I've written about a small moment and not lots of days. So remember to be your own coach by using your checklist and the other resources you have available around the room. Most of you have finished brainstorming and planning and you're ready to draft today. If you're not ready to draft because you still need to brainstorm, or you still need to plan, or maybe you need to change your plan like I had to, that's okay. You're your own coach and you can be in any part of the writing process that is the best for you right now. Writers, the writing workshop has begun.